In author's background, we started introducing Conchitina Cruz. She is a Filipino poet who studied in University of the Philippines, who graduated magna cum laude and valedictorian. In 1996, she won her first Palanca Award and her second in 2001.
The poem Problem Is, by Conchitina R. Cruz, conveys the societal ills in the Philippines, mainly the poverty. The title alone speaks for the poem. The author strives to deliver the message that here's the problem with Filipinos today. And even though poverty covers the life of some Filipinos, there is still a way of surviving throughout every day. For that reason, the author set the poem serious and generally realistic. The first stanza, they say poor Filipinos multiply like rabbits, since they have nothing to do but fuck, living in houses with room. It opens with a simile, comparing the poor with rabbits in terms of how fast they multiply, and depicts the life of the couple, which is they have no place to stay in if they will not work. The rabbit symbolizes prosperity, abundance, and fertility. On the other hand, rabbits also means happiness, which Filipinos like. Filipinos are like rabbits that look from an overgrazed pasture to a greener one. It also shows here that multiplying is not necessarily the desire of the poor, but a consequence of having nothing to do. But in the following stanzas, especially in the seventh stanza onwards with the line, "You told me not to worry, that someday the worst would end. Just a couple of right moves and it will be over. Should I have told you, then we've never been better? Should I have been told you then to hold your tongue? But we have no room for such words. We were rabbits, seeking on the other side, bent on crossing the pasture." It focuses on answering what the problem is, although not directly stating it by the author, and a glimmer of hope that Filipinos can overcome the societal ills or challenges in our life. Like the quote, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite of all darkness," by Desmond Tutu. I believe that the problem is still relevant in today's society and should be resolved by acceptance. The message of the poem is for us to be blessed, appreciative, and satisfied with everything we have today that is provided by the people around us, like our parents, because they shed blood, sweat, and tears in order for them to gain or earn something for our needs in life. We should also learn to love the people around us and be there and help them in times of struggle.
One of the approaches in criticizing use for this literary piece is Marxist approach. Marxism analyzes how money and social classes affect society. In the first stanza, it is said that they say poor Filipinos multiply like rabbits since they have nothing to do but to reproduce. How this will affect our society is because it is said that the poor Filipinos often reproduce, that is why they are being compared to rabbits. This can lead to overpopulation, depleting resources for the long run.
We critique this poem by using the text-dependent approach. As we all know, text-dependent approach have two types, formalism and structuralism. One example of formalism in the poem was in the sixth stanza, which is, "But never owned, we compensated by making love." As we critique this, it shows that they paid back by making love for being badly off in money and cannot find to afford what they aspire. The only thing they can do was to make love because they have nothing. While structuralism that is evident in the poem was the rabbit. As we all know, rabbits are known for their insatiable reproductive habits. They breed 3 or 4 times each year. Poor Filipinos are compared to a rabbit because the only thing they do is multiply and have as many kids as they want.
Human and rabbits' eyes are structurally and physiologically different. People's heart rates rise when they feel scared. Rabbits' heart, on the other hand, slow down under terrifying conditions. Rabbits are not affected by eating the berries or deadly nightshade, which can be fatal to people. Rabbits can get pregnant as young as 4 months old, with some smaller breeds starting their reproductive life cycle at 4 months. A female rabbit is fertile for all but around 3 days each month, but she will only produce an egg for insemination if she is sexually indurated with.
In the poem Problem Is, I understand how the author tries to convey the notion that this is the problem with Filipinos today, and that despite the fact that some Filipinos live in poverty, there is still a means to survive every day. The second approach used is the text-dependent approach, and under this we use formalism and structuralism. In formalism, we interpret each stanza on how the author portrays the poor Filipinos. The author portrays how Filipinos think that they are like rabbits yearning for a better meadow after an overgrazed one, meaning that they have a strong desire to look for a better environment where they can get on what they are craving to afford. Lastly, we use structuralism. This is where we explain the symbols used in the poem, and the only symbol here is the rabbits. The author described it as poor and unprivileged Filipinos who copulate like a rabbit despite knowing their social status.